Greetings, guys. Let's quickly have a look at the Apple chart. Let's start. So you guys can see that I've got the monthly chart of Apple open. So the first thing that I can already see is that in this region we had an overextended W formation. This being the W and the neckline being there. However, we saw price coming back to retest that neckline of that W structure, and price continued going up, right? So let's continue. So what else do we see on this particular chart? We also had the structure over here, which is an overextended W formation with the neckline being in this region, and we saw price heading to the top and then coming down again to retest the neckline of that particular W structure. So I'm just going to add a neckline actually to that area so that we don't forget about that particular W structure as we move along to the smaller time frames of the Apple chart. So this will be our neckline. Also, I'm just going to add the Fibonacci retracement tool just to see if this particular retracement to this neckline is in line with any of the key Fibonacci zones. Just bear with me. There we go. Okay, so just bear with me, guys. Let's see. So we can see that actually the neckline of this particular W formation is in line with the 61.8% Fibonacci retracement zone. So what we should have been, or what we should have done actually is, or rather was to look for selling or rather buying opportunities in this region when price got to that particular level. So let's continue. I'm just going to delete this Fibonacci retracement tool, but in the back of our minds we need to keep the fact that price retraced to the 61.8% Fibonacci zone, right? So let's continue. So what else can we see on this particular chart of Apple? I can see that price had created an information in this region, right, with the neckline being somewhere there. However, we are yet to see a retracement back to the neckline to test it, and from here price may actually go down to this level where we have this particular candlestick, which is a bearish candlestick with a small body and a long lower wick. So this tells us that at this level we have a whole lot of liquidity that's sitting there, and at one point or another price has to come down to trigger that that liquidity, and that's maybe when we might see price heading back up in this region, you know. So let's continue. I'm just actually gonna add a line to that candle, which is carrying a whole lot of liquidity, so that we don't forget about it, as it's a very important candlestick. Just bear with me, guys. I'm just gonna make it a different color actually. Let's see. Excuse me. I'll make it a blue. No? There we go. Let's continue. So what else do we see on this particular chart of Apple? Oh, I spoke about this information here. Let me just plot it once more. I spoke about this information and the neckline being there. So what I'm going to do now is actually add the actual neckline so that we do not forget about it, as that area is also very important. The neckline is around this area, right? So what else do we see on this chart that is important or significant? I don't see much. So let's continue to the weekly chart. Okay. So here we are on the weekly chart. So what do we see on this particular weekly chart? So what I'm gonna do actually on this chart is adjust the neckline that we drew on the daily chart, or rather on the monthly chart. I'm just gonna move it down just to make sure that it's more accurate. There we go. I'll put it over there. So what else do we see? I also see this candlestick over here. It's a bullish candlestick with a small body and a long lower wick. So what this tells us is that at this level over here, we have a whole lot of liquidity sitting there, and at one point or another, price has to come back to that level to grab some of that liquidity. Okay, let's continue. Is there anything else of interest that we see on this particular chart? The answer to that question is yes. We also have another candlestick here, which is a bullish candlestick with a small body and a long upper wick. So we also have liquidity there as well. And price has to come to that point to trigger some of that liquidity. So let's continue. Let's see. Also, right at the bottom, we have this candlestick right there, which is a bearish candlestick with a small body and a long lower wick. So we also have liquidity at around this level, which needs to be triggered by the market. We have another one over here, which is actually a doji, but it's also a bearish candlestick with a small body and a long lower wick. So it's actually in line with the other bearish candlestick rather, that we spoke about on the daily chart. So let's continue. What else do we see on this particular chart of Apple, which is the weekly chart? I don't see anything else at this stage. So what I'm gonna do right now is head over to the daily chart. Okay. So on the daily chart, the first thing that I'm gonna do is add my channel. Just bear with me. There we go. Okay. We just need to ensure that all the drawings that we have on our platforms are as accurate as possible. Just to ensure that when we do actually execute, our execution is as accurate as can be. I'm just going to make it a different color. Okay, there we are. That's my daily channel. And let's have a look at the daily chart. So what do we see on this particular daily chart? On this daily chart, we seem to have a gap in that region. And what that tells us is that price has to come to that level to grab some of that liquidity. We also had a whole lot of informations on this daily chart, one being in this region with the neckline being there. We saw price coming back to retest the neckline, also forming an information here with another neckline being there. The neckline was broken, price came back to retest that neckline, and then we saw it going down again, right? So let's continue. What else do we see on this particular chart? Another thing that is also very important is that we have this candlestick over here. It's a bearish candlestick with a small body and a long lower wick. So we've got a whole lot of liquidity here. And as you can see, this candlestick, or this area where we have a whole lot of liquidity, is in line